Good morning. Welcome to another daily encouragement. This is number 4 out of 5 of a series of daily encouragements looking at how coronavirus is attacking some of our most basic needs. And today we're looking at the human need for control and self-determination. So if you are struggling at the moment, week 4 of the lockdown, if you are feeling disorientated, if you're not sure why you're feeling, what you're feeling right now, we believe this series is going to help you to be able to name perhaps some of the things that are going on so you're able to bring biblical truth and encouragement into those areas of your life. Now, every human being wants to feel like they have an element of control in their lives. I'm not talking just about you control freaks out there, but each and every one of us, at one level or not, has a deep-seated desire for certainty and for an element of control. We believe that we can shape outcomes in our lives. The more we feel in control of something, the more competent we feel, which again boosts our sense of well-being. So therefore, when we feel out of control, where we feel control has been taken away from us, we feel like we can't change anything. We can't do anything. We feel somehow, some of us perhaps incompetent or insecure right now about what our role is, or what are we expected to do, and sort of malaise can come upon you, and it could bring up all sorts of emotions because you're feeling out of control. And so I just want to name that this morning. I want to tell you that that's how I feel. I struggle with this, particularly coming into the lead pastor role 10 weeks before the whole of church across the nation has changed, perhaps forever. So great 10-week running, and then into something new that no one has done before. And there's very little I can control. You'll know if you're a bit part of our church family for a while. As the executive pastor, I was able to implement a lot of things and in leading the staff team. And now the staff team are doing a great job. They're serving you so fantastically. But without seeing them often, our working relationship has changed. Our ability to do things so easily in the office is changing. Is that everything seems to be a bit more complex. And a bit more uncertain, and so I'm feeling tempted to feel a bit insecure. But the encouragement is that God is in control, that God is sovereign. We say this often. He's large and in charge. He's seated and he's not panicking. And I know we say that a lot, but it is such a security and encouragement to me at this time. We know that God must be permitting COVID-19 because he knows it ultimately doesn't thwart his purposes. That's important. God's purposes on this earth will not be derailed or thwarted by this virus. And so to encourage us, we can read Matthew 6 verses 25 to the end of the chapter about a cure for anxiety, about how God cares for the animals and clothes the lilies of the field. Talks about God's provision, talks about him ultimately holding everything together, and it tells us not to worry because he knows what we need. So for you who are feeling out of control, you can rest knowing that you know a God who is in control of everything. So Matthew 6 goes on to encourage us to seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. Take the time you would have spent worrying about things you can't ultimately control, and instead pursue his kingdom and his righteousness. But his kingdom has not passed away. His kingdom is advancing. God is with us. He is for us. God has not changed, and his kingdom is advancing today. What may be helpful for you to do, and this is something that I know is helpful for me, is to write down a list of everything you can't control. I tell you, this will help you feel better. Instead of worrying over, or for me, worrying over our reach on the internet, or our engagement, or how we're going to be able to do particular things into the future, I need to not spend time anxiously preparing plans that ultimately are in God's hands. Instead, I should pursue the God who holds these things in his hand. I want to encourage you to do the same. Write that list, everything you can't control, and give up trying to control those things. And instead, take that list and take it to God in prayer. Rest in God. Know that God hears you. Know that He has you right where He wants you to be. God's kingdom is advancing. And this is an amazing opportunity to have everything else stripped away so that we would just follow our King. That we would seek after Him and His righteousness. That in following Him, we would lay down the things that perhaps we weren't meant to be controlling in the first place. Rest in God. Lay down your plans and agendas, what I'm having to learn to do. Lay them down and pick up His plans and His purposes in preparation for the next season ahead for us as His people on His earth. God has great plans for His church to advance in the nation. He has great plans for many to come to know Him. Don't seek to control the things you can't, but rest in His sovereign grace for you this morning. Amen. Great. I hope to see you again tomorrow for another daily encouragement.